One big downside with tag selectors is what happens if you want some H1 tags to be defined using one style and other H1 tags to look slightly differently. Using just tag selectors, you don't have that level of control because every single H1 tag gets the same style applied to it. When you want to give one or more element a look that's different from related tags on a page, for example, maybe we want some paragraphs to look one way and other paragraphs to look another. So let's define first of all a standard paragraph. So we'll have font, size, and we'll make it 12 pixels, and we'll make it that navy blue again. Okay, and that's our kind of our default style for our paragraph tags. Again, let's just make sure that it's worked correctly. There we go. Okay. Now what happens if we have a second paragraph and we want to apply a different style to it? Okay, well let's grab some extra text from the multimedia training videos website. Let's go for that second paragraph. Okay, and there we have the second paragraph. We'll sort out this title part in a minute, but we'll see what effect that adding those paragraph tags has to it. Okay, and that second paragraph now has the same styling as that first paragraph. So what happens if we wanted a different style? Maybe we wanted to change the colour. Well, the way to do it is to use class selectors. And class selectors allow you to group together different tags. How do we define that a paragraph tag is part of a certain class? Well, you just use a class attribute. Okay, and we'll use a class that we call important. Just save that. And maybe all that we need to do, all that we want to do, is to change the colour. So instead of it being that blue colour, we want any tag that's part of the important class to have a colour that's red. Now, you'll have noticed that I started this line with a dot, and that's something that you've got to always do with class selectors. So unlike a tag selector where you just type in the name of the tag, a class selector you have to start with a full stop and then the name of the class. There's a couple of rules regarding what you can name classes. So you can have letters, numbers, hyphens and underscores in class names. However, after the full stop, the name must always start with a letter. Class names are also case sensitive. So, for example, a class selector defined as that would be different to a class selector that's got the same name but is in capitals. I'd strongly suggest that you don't use a naming convention that mixes uppercase and lowercase letters, because it causes huge amounts of confusion when you're trying to work out exactly which styles get applied to which classes. So commonly people always use a lowercase naming convention. Having defined that class, any tag that is part of that class should now have the colour that I've defined there, so it should now be in red. So again, if we go back to our HTML page and refresh, and there we go. Because that second paragraph is part of the important class, it gets a style of a red colour applied to it. If, for example, the section above or the text above we decide to include within div tags, and we also want to apply that important class, we can do. The class is equal to important, and if we save that and go back to our web page and refresh, then you'll notice that although the tags are different, if you remember, one's contained within a div tag, one's contained within a paragraph tag, they do both belong to the same class, and therefore any styling that's applied to that class will get applied to those two differing tags.